Before sunrise, the city holds its breath. Commuter bridges sit like long black ribs over the slow-moving river, and the glass faces of downtown towers reflect a thin, pearly blue. On the southeast ridge, Eden Heights lifts its greenhouse crown into the gray, a lantern of glass and steel, where plants sleep under safety lamps and dew gathers like clear beads along the panes. A street cleaner hums past a row of shuttered food stalls. A stray gust rattles a newspaper against a mailbox, and then hush, silence returns, like a choir waiting on a cue. A beeline bus sighs at the curb and kneels with a hiss. A young man steps down with the relaxed, alert posture of someone who's learned to listen to a neighborhood. That's Adam Walker, 24, lean and athletic, warm brown skin, a close taper fade, soft brown eyes that smile first and speak second. His jacket is folded over one arm. His other hand holds an old stainless thermos, scuffed from use. He blinks up at the greenhouse on the 8th floor and feels a private thrill, the one that says, "God woke me up on purpose." The Eden Heights lobby is all polished terrazzo and tall plants in concrete pots. A single fig tree, real soil, real roots, stands near the welcome desk like a quiet greeter. Its broad leaves wear last night's mist. The security guard logs a delivery on a tablet without looking up. A sleepy baker wheels a cart of croissants toward the cafe kiosk and slips in behind a half-rolled gate. Somewhere above, pipes shiver, a building's internal yawn.
"You're early again."
The voice floats down from the mezzanine balcony. Eve leans over the rail, waving a small watering can like a baton. She's 23, an African-American woman with natural curls tucked into a loose ponytail and a face that looks like sunrise found a home. She's in a cream cardigan and jeans, tote strap across her shoulder, volunteer badge clipped neat. Adam tilts his head back, grinning at the sight of her, his favorite view in the whole building. "Your bus was light. Figured I'd catch the choir before the elevator starts its sermon." Eve points toward the stairwell with the watering can. No need to wait for the lift. Adam swipes his volunteer tag at the turnstile. The gate chirps green, and he starts upward, 2 steps at a time, breath easy, thermos clanging lightly against the rail on each landing. He likes the stairs, the rise, the rhythm, the way each flight feels like a prayer you climb with your feet. The rooftop door grumbles open to air that smells like damp soil and waking jasmine. Wooden planters march in neat rows, kale, peppers, rosemary, basil, and between them, paths of composite decking warmed by hidden cables in the colder months. Overhead, a trellis webbed with vines throws lacy shadows, and along the east edge, a waist-high fence marks the inner orchard, off-limits unless you carry a steward's permit. In its heart stands a single fig tree, not tall as legends tell, but mature enough to hold a human gaze. The early fruit wear a faint green blush that will deepen to brown violet when it's time. Eve waits at the prayer bench, where the trellis makes a little chapel out of the corner. She set 2 paper cups between them. Adam pours ginger tea from the thermos, and the cups fog their fingers as dawn raises the dimmer on the city below. Traffic is only a rumor out by the river. Window washers clip lines to a bracket 3 rooftops over. Somewhere a siren test warbles and dies. The stillness is alive, not empty. Eve opens her phone, opens a Bible app, and scrolls to Genesis chapter 2. Adam leans to read over her shoulder. The words feel both ancient and local. Garden, river, trees pleasing to the eye. The wind presses a jasmine bloom against Eve's wrist, and she smiles and brushes it away, as you might brush the cheek of a child.
Crazy how God starts with the garden. Not a lecture, a place.
Yeah, and then he gives a boundary so the place stays a blessing. A soft chime blossoms from a speaker somewhere near the stairwell, the kind of sound that means official without sounding harsh. The building's PA speaks with calm, neutral courtesy, a digital usher in a velvet jacket.
Good morning, Eden Heights residents. Reminder, inner orchard rows remain restricted. Harvests only under certified supervision.
Eve's eyes drift toward the fence, then back to the text on her phone. Adam watches the thought cross her face and decide to keep moving. They sip their tea and let the warmth settle the small shake of early morning. On the far side of the roof, motion lights flick on as a maintenance cart hums past. A pair of sparrows hop along the rail, feasting on something invisible to human pride. The fig tree lifts its leaves just so, a dancer's breath before the next measure.
My kids at the center, they ask if boundaries mean God wants to keep them from fun.
Tell 'em boundaries mean God wants to keep 'em. A smile flickers between them, shared language. They bow their heads without ceremony, like two people who've learned prayer is oxygen, not theater. Lord, thank you for a new morning. Teach us to tend what you entrust. This roof, our neighbors, our marriage, our own hearts.
And keep us grateful for fences that guard what's good. Keep us from wanting applause more than your yes. Amen.
The amen doesn't close anything. It opens the day. Down in the lobby, the cafe lights snap on, and the smell of cinnamon crawls into the elevators. A courier scans a QR code, shoulders a crate of produce, and vanishes through service doors. On a slim hollow screen by the rooftop elevator, a green leaf logo animates into view. Only, for a half Bartheart, the stem coils in a serpentine flourish before the graphic smooths back to a harmless leaf. Adam's eyes catch it like a fisherman feeling the faintest tap on a line, but he lets it slide. Not every flicker is a sign. Sometimes a flicker is just a flicker, and sometimes not. Eve scrolls her phone to the last lines of Genesis 2 and reads silently. The text feels like a good key in a good lock. The sky brightens from pewter to pearl to the soft pink painter's chase. The fig leaves show veins like palm map, and the dew along the garden rail warms into disappearing beads. A delivery drone hums across the sky like a mechanical bee. Its shadow skims the greenhouse glass and vanishes. Below, a city bus sighs into motion and pulls away from the stop. The timing is unremarkable and holy.
You ever think we're building a new Eden up here, like real talk?
Sometimes, then I remember the first Eden had God walking in it. If he ain't walking with us, it's just landscaping. Somewhere, a delivery door claps. The rooftop motion sensor dims, then brightens. Over near the inner fence, a volunteer lingers with a clipboard, checking irrigation valves, eyes drifting, just for a second, toward the fig. He shakes his head, like a man arguing with himself, and keeps moving. Desire is a patient salesman. It doesn't mind waiting until you're tired. The PA chimes again, a little brighter now as more residents come awake. A concierge in the lobby sets out a tray of small paper cups for basil citrus water and arranges them like chess pieces. A young dad with a toddler stops to admire the potted fig, whispers something about real trees to a child who has mostly known plastic plants and screensavers. The child pats the pot and grins.
Reminder, steward orientation this Saturday in Annex A, 6 p.m. Dress casual neat, light refreshments provided.
Eve's forehead wrinkles. She doesn't love the way the word steward has been used lately, the way marketing turns sacred nouns into shiny badges. Adam reads her face like a second language. He shrugs, but it's not indifference. It's the shrug people use when they choose not to decide yet.
We can listen, not sign.
Pray first, listen second. Sign never if the peace ain't there. He stands, stretches, and offers her a hand. They walk the perimeter like gardeners and like watchmen, pointing out weak trellis joints, a planter that lists slightly to the south, a knot of roots stubborn in the corner bed. It feels good to notice the small things. It feels like respect. At the elevator, the little hollow screen wakes again. The leaf shape rolls open like a ribbon, harmless, friendly, eco everything. Then, in that blink-length frame your mind almost misses, the stem coils, a serpent suggestion, a whisper that never needs words. The animation resolves, the doors slide open. Adam and Eve step inside. If you ask them later when the story really started, they might point to a Saturday night, or a storm, or a dish under a linen napkin. But heaven's ledger would probably mark this morning too. Two young hearts, a rooftop garden, a sign about an inner row, the soft resolve to obey, and that flicker on a screen that looked like nothing at all.
By mid-morning, the sidewalks outside Eden Heights are awake with delivery scooters and the hiss of espresso steam drifting from a curbside cart. The rooftop garden that had felt almost sacred at sunrise now hums with the ordinary chorus of hoses, crates, and chatter. Yet, beneath the familiar sounds, an unsettled hush follows the notice that went out overnight. All rooftop stewards and nominees, mandatory compliance audit in Annex B, 4 p.m. Adam Walker feels that hush as he stacks broccoli heads into green bins in the basement cooler. He works with quiet focus, the kind that keeps him anchored when rumors swirl like gnats in summer air. On his phone, a push notification banner glows across the lock screen, the reminder for today's audit meeting. He dismisses it with his thumb, but can't dismiss the thought that something more than paperwork waits upstairs. Eve Walker, meanwhile, volunteers in the rooftop classroom corner, a little half-circle of beanbag chairs where neighborhood children color drawings of sunflowers and rooftop bees. She pins their sketches onto a corkboard shaped like a giant watering can. Her badge dangles as she kneels beside a girl struggling to draw a straight stem. The girls laugh when the pencil finally obeys, eases some of the tension tightening Eve's shoulders since dawn. Around noon, Dr. Amara Cole makes her rounds, clipboard hugged to her chest, her rose-hued sweater sleeves pushed to the elbow. She stops to greet Eve with that calm voice that can make even bad news sound like an invitation to breathe.
Eve, I know the notice rattled folks. Remember, an audit is mostly about records and protocols, not accusations. Try not to worry ahead of facts.
I appreciate that, Dr. Cole. But after Saturday's ceremony, I just want everything above board.
Understandable. Integrity is the best armor. I'll be in Annex B later if you or Adam want to speak before the meeting starts.
Afternoon shadows stretch across the east wall by the time Adam and Eve meet in the lobby cafe. A thunder-gray sky presses low outside the glass facade. The fig tree in the corner almost seems to lean closer to listen. They sip basil lemon water in silence for a while, watching pedestrians hurry past. We're still just observers, right? Not signed up for anything beyond that. Right, we said we'd listen, not leap. But I keep feeling like someone's moving the fence lines when we're not looking. At precisely 4 o'clock, Annex B's glass conference doors slide open with a hypnotic sigh. Inside, white daylight spills from the ceiling panels, bright but not harsh, reflecting off metal-edged tables arranged in a horseshoe. Screens at either end of the room display the Eden Heights Leaf logo pulsing gently as if breathing. Adam, a tall African-American man in a navy polo beneath his work jacket, takes a seat forward leading at the right side of the table. Beside him, Eve, an African-American woman in her cream cardigan, tote tucked beneath her chair, flips open a spiral notebook, pen poised though her brow stays slightly knit. A moment later, the building liaison enters, NH Hash, a black mixed man in a charcoal blazer with silver-tempered fade, sharp cheekbones and an untroubled smile that feels practiced yet disarming. He carries a slim glass tablet that glows blue-green with scrolling data, harvest tallies, water sensor graphs, and volunteer rosters. He stands near the midpoint of the horseshoe as if he's already the host of the room. Good evening, friends. I'll keep this efficient. Our rooftop thrives, but success brings oversight. Today's audit ensures our stewardship reports match reality. We'll review harvest numbers, volunteer hours, and observation logs. Nothing intrusive, purely procedural. His tone carries that easy confidence of a man used to persuading without appearing to sell. A few neighbors nod, relieved. Others glance at one another, uncertain whether to relax or brace. Will tonight's discussion include the symbolic tasting ritual? Some of us had concerns after Saturday. The ceremony, yes. It will be logged as a cultural morale-building exercise, not a food handling incident. Completely optional, zero ingestion, no rule broken. Eve presses her lips together, unsatisfied. Dr. Amara Cole, standing near the glass wall with arms lightly folded, shifts her weight forward just enough to enter the dialogue.
For medical clarity, I'll recommend the practice be discontinued. Symbolic or not, rituals with food can carry unintended effects, ethical and psychological, if not physical. I'll note that in my report.
Hash's smile flickers but recovers. He moves briskly through slides. Rainfall efficiency charts, soil moisture comparisons, line graphs, volunteer sign-ins. Adam follows the numbers with an attentive frown. The math looks clean, yet something about the glossy narrative feels airbrushed, like a brochure hiding footnotes. When questions open, a retiree named Mrs. Jenkins asks whether extra produce is truly donated to the shelter or partly sold to an unnamed cafe downtown. Hash assures her every ounce is accounted for, gestures to the blue-green bars as proof. Adam catches Eve's glance. Her pencil hovers above a blank page, but she doesn't write. The meeting adjourns an hour later with polite applause that sounds more like furniture being moved than celebration. People shuffle out in clusters of 2 and 3, their conversations quiet, heavy with mixed impressions. Outside the glass wall, a glimpse of the rooftop garden shows the fig tree's broad leaves trembling under an approaching gust. Storm clouds muscle across the skyline, turning the daylight a restless silver. Adam waits until most have left before approaching Dr. Cole. Doc, do you think we're overreacting, or is something here off-key?
Healthy discernment is never overreaction. Systems sometimes look orderly while roots rot unseen. Keep asking good questions. Keep your conscience clean.
A low rumble of thunder underscores her words as if nature itself adds a period. Eve snaps her notebook shut, offering Dr. Cole a grateful half-smile. They step into the hallway where the overhead lights already sense the storm and brighten a notch. Adam, I don't want us caught in office politics. I just want to serve the people upstairs and keep our hearts clear. Same here. We'll stay low-key, stay honest, let God handle the rest. But I've got a feeling this isn't the last meeting about fences and fruit. The lobby greets us with the scent of rain-damp marble. Commuters rush in, clutching umbrellas as wind drives needles of drizzle against the glass doors. A courier drips onto the welcome mat as he scans a delivery QR code, muttering about the sky's bad timing. Eve slips her arm around Adam's and they pause beneath the fig tree near the sign-in desk. A single drop slides off a leaf and lands on the back of her hand. She rubs it in like a secret blessing. Boundaries, blessings. Sometimes I can't tell which is which until it rains. Adam chuckles softly, not with mockery, but with the tenderness of someone who's thought the same thing and never said it out loud. Outside, a flash of lightning forks behind the garden's glass crown. For a brief heartbeat, the rooftop fig's silhouette burns black against the white glare like a living etching on heaven's page.
Saturday arrives beneath the sky that can't make up its mind. Morning sun spilling warm over the river only to retreat behind stray gray clouds. By afternoon, the weather settles into a crisp cobalt dusk with a hint of festival in the breeze. The Rooftop Lantern Festival has been announced all week. Community night of gratitude and flourish. Music, story, light.
Eve Walker spends the morning with neighborhood children in the garden's teaching corner, stringing paper lanterns painted with sunflowers, vines, and verses of hope. Her curls keep slipping from the ponytail. Each time she tucks them back, a child mimics her gesture and giggles. She lets them tape green gold ribbons onto planter edges for good luck. Adam Walker finishes his produce shift early downstairs, then joins her, hammer in hand, tightening the trellis hooks where the fairy lights droop. The rooftop begins to glow as the lantern bulbs wake one by one, their warm gold pools softening the edges of the benches and beds. By 6:30, a slow stream of residents filters up the elevator, carrying folding chairs, trays of empanadas, homemade iced teas. A youth string trio from the local high school tunes up near the jasmine-wrapped arch, playing scales that flutter into fragments of old hymns. The fig tree at the orchid's heart looks almost regal tonight, its broad leaves catching lantern light like small polished shields. Someone places a low porcelain dish at its base, covers it with a linen napkin, then steps aside as if the tree itself might breathe on it. Adam stands at the welcome table, greeting neighbors, directing them toward the paper bag candles that line the paths. He shakes hands with an older couple who remark how the garden smells like the farms they grew up on. Eve moves from table to table, making sure each child gets a ribbon-wrapped cupcake before the speeches begin. From the far elevator, N.H. arrives, charcoal soup pressed, smile polished to a low shine. The glow of his glass tablet reflects in his dark eyes as he scrolls notes while walking. Good evening, friends. Tonight isn't a lecture. It's a celebration of stewardship. Our rooftop feeds over 200 families monthly. Your hands, your hours made that happen. We honor that labor of love. As custom now, we close with a symbolic benediction, a simple tasting ceremony near the fig tree. Purely symbolic, no actual ingestion, just a gentle touch of fruit to the lips as a sign of flourishing. A few nod approvingly, others exchange subtle glances. Eve, setting down a tray of lemonade cups, feels her stomach tighten. Not fear exactly, but something between unease and curiosity. She notices Dr. Amara Cole standing off to the side near a lantern pole, arms folded across her rose-hued sweater, observing the crowd like a shepherd scanning her flock at night. Medical reminder: participation is voluntary. Those with food allergies or religious concerns may abstain with full respect. My recommendation remains: avoid rituals with edible items where possible. Symbolism is powerful enough without contact. Her words settle the air for a heartbeat before the trio begins a gentle instrumental hymn. Children chase each other between candle bags while their parents hush them with indulgent smiles. Volunteers unveil tables of hummus, roasted peppers, mint-infused water. The mood feels almost wedding-like, part sacred, part street fair. At a signal from Harsh, an assistant approaches the porcelain dish beneath the fig tree. With deliberate care, he folds back the napkin, revealing a single ripe fig split clean down the middle, its seeds glistening ruby under lantern light. A quiet ripple moves through the crowd. Some step closer as though drawn by an invisible thread. Others lean back uncertain. Harsh raises a palm in calm reassurance and begins calling names of volunteers noted for extraordinary service. One by one, they step forward: a retired teacher, a pair of teenage brothers from 3C, a nurse who ran night shifts all winter. Each receives a gentle press of the fig's pulp against their closed lips, a hush falling as if everyone feels the invisible weight of meaning. Then Harsh announces the next pair: Adam and Eve Walker, our steady hands in storms and in sowing. Please join us. A low murmur sweeps through the guests, followed by polite applause. Eve exchanges a quick glance with Adam, her brow furrows slightly, unsure if being chosen is honor or test. Adam exhales through his nose, steps forward anyway, his navy work shirt sleeves rolled just below his elbows. Eve follows, smoothing her cardigan as if to steady her heart. It's just symbolic, right? Our no can be worship too, but we'll trust God for this moment. They stand before the dish as the assistant dips a gloved fingertip into the soft fruit and draws a tiny arc across each of their closed lips. No bite, no chew, merely a tap, like sealing an envelope. Lantern light flickers over their faces. A night breeze rustles fig leaves above them as if the tree itself sighed.
Why does something so small feel so heavy? Because sometimes surrender wears a costume of ceremony. The trio resumes its hymn, conversations pick back up, trays of empanadas make another lap among the guests. But a subtle shift lingers between the couple, like a door unlatched inside a quiet house, letting in a draft no one else notices. From the fringe of the gathering, Dr. Amara Cole catches Eve's gaze and tilts her head slightly, a silent question that asks, "You all right?" Eve offers a polite smile in return, though her heartbeat drums in uneven rhythm. Adam's eyes wander to the fence that guards the inner row. In the half-light, the latch's metal glints like a watchful eye. As the program winds down, Hosh thanks everyone for attending and invites them to post selfies with the hashtag #FlourishNight for the building's digital bulletin. Children cluster near the trellis fairy lights posing for pictures while parents queue for mint tea refills. The night sky deepens to indigo, and the first true city lights wake beyond the river, points of gold against dark cobalt. Adam gathers folded chairs while Eve helps the children collect their lanterns. When the crowd thins to a handful of volunteers, they pause beneath the jasmine arch, staring at the fig tree that now looks more sentinel than plant. Lord, keep my heart straight. Don't let ceremony make me cross a line I can't uncross. Amen. Help us serve without hungering for recognition. They stack the last chair, coil the last string of lights, and ride the elevator down in reflective silence. Neither mentions the tiny cool touch of fruit that still tingles faintly on their lips. In the empty lobby, the digital welcome screen replays highlights from the festival. Lanterns glowing, neighbors clapping, children laughing. For a flicker frame between slides, the Eden Heights Leaf logo coils into a silver snake curl before smoothing back again. Too quick for the casual eye, but Adam notices. He opens his mouth to speak, then decides is late, lets the thought slide for now. Outside the revolving doors, the night air carries the scent of rain waiting in distant clouds. Eve draws her cardigan tighter and walks beside Adam toward the bus stop, the city's hum surrounding them like a low-tuned organ. One chord of beauty, one chord of warning.
Sunday dawns with pewter clouds stretched thin like pulled cotton above the skyline. The garden rooftop stays closed until noon, posted for a rest and soil recovery. So Adam and Eve attend their small brick front church 2 blocks east of the river. The sanctuary smells of lemon-oiled wood and rain-damp coats. The choir hums a warm-up over the clatter of folding hymn stands. Pastor Miles, a heavy-set man in his 50s, with a voice like gravel wrapped in velvet, preaches from Proverbs about guarding the heart above all else. Adam listens with the quiet concentration of a man who knows the fences don't always keep wolves out. Sometimes they keep gardens in. After service, they linger for tea in styrofoam cups beside a bulletin board crowded with flyers, youth tutoring schedules, a blood drive sheet, a weather-worn flyer for last year's Lantern Festival. Eve notices an elderly member handing out tiny slips of paper on which she's written verses about discernment. The older woman presses one into Eve's palm with a whisper. Not every open gate is invitation. Eve folds it into her pocket next to a peppermint candy, feeling the paper's weight far beyond its grams. That evening, the couple returns to Eden Heights carrying leftover muffins for the security guard. Rain spatters the glass doors as they swipe in. The fig in the lobby glistens under the pendant lamps as though freshly polished by the storm. The building feels different, quieter, yet watchful. On the elevator ride up, a hollow screen displays upcoming events. Compost training Tuesday, rooftop yoga Friday, steward orientation highlighted in bold amber for Saturday. Adam eyes the bold letters, but says nothing. Eve presses the button for their floor and leans against the rail, watching rain crawl down the glass shaft. Near midnight, unable to sleep, Adam slips on a hoodie and climbs the stairwell to the rooftop. A drizzle still mists the city. The garden lights cast low halos in the damp air. The fence around the inner orchard is latched, but a corner of the caution tag flaps loose. He walks the perimeter slowly, boots thudding on the wet decking, scanning for leaks or anything disturbed by the weather. At the fig tree's base, he finds nothing unusual, just a few fallen petals plastered to the soil, rain-darkened and fragile. But as he straightens up, motion catches his eye. The little hollow screen beside the elevator housing glows faint silver, though the lift is idle. The Eden Heights leaf logo rotates on its axis, then, for a blink, elongates into that coiling serpent curve again before snapping back. Adam exhales through his teeth, half annoyed at himself for noticing, half certain it's more than a glitch. Lord, help me keep my eyes open, but my heart unparanoid. Monday morning brings brisk autumn wind and the first true yellow on the rooftop marigolds. Eve teaches an early gardening class to 3 middle schoolers. They crowd around a compost bin, squealing when a red earthworm wriggles free. Their laughter breaks the rooftop's cool hush like sunlight through blinds. Adam returns from the loading dock carrying a crate of Honeycrisp apples, setting it near the herb wall before pausing to watch her work. This, he thinks, is the image that makes labor worth its calluses. During lunch, Eve sits under the trellis, scrolling her phone. A local news app headline slides across the screen. Green urban developer announces expansion of steward program to adjacent properties. The article mentions Eden Heights as a flagship site and quotes #, describing the promise of disciplined community partnership. Eve chews her sandwich slower, wondering when the garden project became a brand. That afternoon, Dr. Amara Cole drops by for her routine check on the rooftop irrigation sensors. She finds Adam tightening a loose valve behind the herb wall. Good eye on that leak. Small drips become big invoices if ignored. Story of half my life, Doc. Appreciate you checking on things up here even when the rest of us think it's fine. A garden's health is rarely visible at first glance. Same with communities. Eve joins them wiping damp soil from her palms onto a towel. A distant siren slides down the main avenue, then fades. Clouds overhead shift from pale to pewter again, promising another round of rain. Dr. Cole, have you noticed anything off about these new programs? It feels like every week there's a fresh policy or pledge. Initiatives multiply fast when donors taste applause. Be steady. Applause fades. Accountability stays. Her calm words settle over them like a second roof against the drizzle now freckling the garden path. Eve pockets the phone, grateful for the reminder, though unease still nest behind her ribs. That night, heavy rain lashes the glass panels and whistles down the elevator shaft. Adam dreams of roots stretching like wires beneath the building, humming with a current that feels almost like breath. He wakes before dawn, sweating, and sits upright listening to the radiator tick, as though waiting for it to speak. Tuesday opens with slick sidewalks and puddles the color of steel. The building's PA crackles with its cheerful, neutral tone. Good morning, residents. Compost training begins at 6 p.m. Annex B. Steward candidates encouraged to attend. Rooftop greenhouse closed for routine sensor calibration. Eve exchanges a glance with Adam over breakfast granola at their small kitchen table. The PA's message feels more like a summons than an invitation. You think we're meant to show up or meant to notice who doesn't? Maybe both. Either way, let's walk in prayed up, walk out light-footed. That evening, Annex B's conference room smells faintly of damp coats and rosemary tea. Residents fill half the chairs. Hash stands by the holographic compost cycle chart, beaming at the crowd like a proud professor. He demonstrates sensor readings, moisture levels, decomposition rates, useful science dressed in corporate polish. Adam listens carefully but keeps glancing at the side screen where the leaf logo rotates. Sure enough, during every loop, its stem flickers into that unmistakable serpent curve again. No one else seems to notice. After the session ends, they ride the elevator down with a few neighbors chattering about balcony planters. A teenager remarked that the rooftop fig tree looked bigger tonight, even though pruning season isn't due. Eve meets Adam's eyes. Neither comments until the doors slide open on the lobby. Adam, sometimes I feel like the garden's watching back. Then maybe we keep watching too. Eyes open, hearts guarded. Outside, rain drizzles against the street lamps, turning every drop into a bead of light. They step beneath the lobby fig before heading upstairs, pausing the way city folk pause near fountains, half ritual, half reflex. Eve runs a fingertip over a leaf's slick surface. Water trembles there like liquid glass, but doesn't fall. Above them, the rooftop's greenhouse crown blurs behind rain-specked glass, its silhouette lit from within by maintenance lights that flicker as the storm fiddles with the power lines. Somewhere, high up in the soil beds, roots keep drinking rainwater, unconcerned with the unease in human hearts. Adam slides an arm across Eve's shoulders as they walk the hall toward their door. For now, the garden sleeps. The couple prays in silence, and the city hums on, an electric lullaby laced with a warning bass line only the watchful hear.
Wednesday cracks open with a pale bronze sunrise that slides between high clouds like a slow-moving torch. The rain has stopped but left the city slick, rooftops glittering as if glazed overnight. On Eden Heights' roof, the garden beds release the scent of wet earth and crushed rosemary whenever the breeze combs through. Adam Walker steps out of the freight elevator, balancing a flat of strawberry starters on one shoulder, his navy work hoodie still damp at the cuffs. He hums under his breath, an old gospel riff his grandmother used to sing while shelling peas on porch steps. The sound carries a reassurance that competes gently with the city horns rising from the avenues below. Eve Walker is already on the rooftop, kneeling by the inner fence, scraping away weeds that dared sprout overnight. She wears garden gloves patterned with faded sunflowers and a denim jacket over her cream cardigan. Her curls are pinned up with two bobby pins that barely hold against the breeze. A group of seniors from the community center arrives for their midweek garden therapy class. They settle near the herb wall on folding stools, inhaling the rosemary as if it's medicine, which for some of them, it nearly is. Eve greets each one by name, handing out spray bottles so they can miss the seedlings like doting grandparents. Across the path, the fig tree stands inside its fenced inner row, branches heavy, leaves glistening a deeper green after the rain. Beneath it, the soil looks darker, richer, as though the downpour soaked secrets deeper rather than washing them away.
Feels like the earth's breathing louder after the storm.
Yeah, almost like it's whispering something if you just lean close enough. Eve cuckles softly, but her eyes linger on the fig tree's roots where the mulch seems to shift, though there's no wind at the moment. She shakes the thought away, reminding herself tired eyes invent movement. By noon, the sun pushes through the last of the clouds, turning the rooftop warm and bright. The seniors finish their therapy session with a circle prayer led by Mr. Darnell, a retired bus driver whose baritone still carries authority. Adam loads empty trays back onto the dolly while humming that same porch song tune. As the group files toward the elevator, Dr. Amara Cole appears, carrying her tablet in one hand, the other hand tucked in her rose-hued sweater pocket. She heads straight to the soil sensor box near the inner orchard fence, crouches to examine the readings.
Moisture levels spiked higher than rainfall would explain. I'll schedule a deeper test. Excess water can drown roots from below where we can't see it.
Could be the drainage line clogged again. I'll snake it after lunch, see what's holding the flow.
Good plan. Sometimes the smallest blockage invites the biggest rot.
Eve glances at the fig tree again as Dr. Cole speaks. The phrasing about blockage and rot makes her stomach tighten, though she doesn't know why. A gust rattles the trellis overhead, scattering a few dried petals onto the soil near her boots. After lunch, Adam kneels by the narrow drainage grate beside the inner fence, armed with a plumber's coil. The metal rasp echoes in the pipe as he twists it deeper. When he withdraws the coil, it brings up clumps of decayed leaves and a small scrap of torn cloth, no bigger than a ribbon, stained dark from the soil. Eve crouches beside him, frowning at the odd fragment.
Where would a cloth strip like that come from? We don't use fabric near to beds.
Might have blown in during the festival, or maybe an old garden tie that discolored in the soil. I'll bag it and toss later. He drops the wet scrap into a zip bag and returns to clearing the line until water trickles freely toward the gutter. But as he stands, he notices the same hollow screen on the elevator shaft flicker faintly, even though no call button has been pressed. The rotating leaf curls once more into that serpent loop, then smooths. Adam exhales slow, deciding silence is safer than sounding superstitious.
That evening, a light fog rolls in from the river, softening the rooftop lights to muted halos. Eve remains behind after volunteer hours to catalog seed packets in the small storage shed. She hums a church lullaby to keep herself company, but stops when she hears what sounds like a sigh, long, low, almost like a draft moving through a hollow log. She freezes, listens again, only hears the hum of the greenhouse heaters kicking on. Adam climbs up to fetch her for dinner and finds her staring at the fig tree through the shed's small window.
Eve? Hey, you good?
Thought I heard something. Must have been the heater fan. Whole city's full of fans, vents, ducts. Half of them sound like ghosts if you stay quiet enough. She laughs lightly at his attempt to brush it off, but still keeps glancing back toward the fence fig as they leave. The mist thickens around the rooftop's edges, turning the city beyond into a watercolor of neon blurs. Downstairs, the lobby fig tree looks brighter than usual under the pendant lamps, as if it's been freshly watered, though no one remembers doing so that day. The security guard thanks them for the muffins and jokes about naming the tree Lobby Larry for how faithfully it greets each resident. Before bed, Adam kneels by the window, looking out toward the rooftop crown silhouetted in fog-filtered light. He prays under his breath. Lord, if there's something planted here we can't see, bring it into light. Don't let hidden roots choke what's meant to bless. Eve listens quietly from the bed, her eyes tracing the condensation streak on the glass that looks vaguely like a winding path climbing upward. She whispers a response, barely audible, but sincere.
And give us ears to hear your warnings and the whispers, even if it's just in the soil.
Outside, the fog drapes Eden Heights in a soft gray veil. Somewhere beneath that veil, water seeps deeper through roots and pipes, carrying with it the hidden stories of the garden. Some ordinary as rain, some waiting like a seed for the right season to break the surface. Friday morning dawns washed clean after a night of drizzle, the river shining pewter beneath scattered clouds. The garden rooftop carries that post-rain smell of mint and damp soil. Volunteers in bright hoodies unpack crates of seedlings near the trellis, while city pigeons patrol the far rail hunting crumbs left from last night's snack cut. Adam Walker, sleeves rolled, wipes rainwater off the bench with a rag before sitting down and laces work boots. Beside him, his thermos of ginger tea sends up a thin curl of steam that bends in the breeze like a question mark. Morning, team. Appreciate the early grind. Eve, Adam, got a minute after you water those peppers. I'd like a private word near the fig. The request lands with the subtle weight of something that sounds casual, but isn't. Eve trades a quick look with Adam before nodding. They finish tending the pepper bed and wipe their hands on spare towels before following Has toward the fenced inner row orchard where the fig tree's leaves glisten under stray sunbeams. You two have shown steady integrity. Hours logged, no complaints from staff or residents. Tomorrow's orientation officially opens nominations for inner row stewards. I'd like you both to consider accepting. We're honored by the thought, but what exactly shifts if we cross that fence? More chores or more influence? Influence that shapes how produce is distributed, which plots get expanded, and which partners get the first harvest. Think of it as guardianship of the garden's heart. Guardianship sounds noble, but sometimes the prettiest words hide the steepest costs. What's the price? Only the pledge, confidentiality about research-related cultivars, and full participation in ceremonial observances. The rituals are purely symbolic, nothing harmful. You've already experienced one. Eve's grit tightens slightly at the mention of the ceremony. Adam shifts his stance but keeps his tone even. We'll pray on it. We won't promise in haste. Fair enough. Pray, think, sleep on it. Orientation's tomorrow at 6. My door stays open. Hash leaves with a polite nod, striding back toward the elevator. Eve exhales as if she'd been holding her breath the entire conversation. Adam, I know service needs structure, but I can't shake the feeling that behind these fences is less about carrots and more about control. That's the same echo in my chest. We stay watchful. If God's in it, peace will meet us at the gate. If not, the lack of peace will tell on itself. That afternoon, rain-flecked sunlight slants across the herb wall as residents arrive in trickles. A young mother plants basil seedlings with her toddler perched on her hip. two college students build a compost bin extension, hammering nails with a rhythm that sounds like improvised drums. The garden hums with gentle labor, but an unspoken question hangs in the warm air. Who will say yes to the inner row? Near sunset, Dr. Amara Cole appears carrying her sensor tablet, pausing to greet the couple. Evening, you two. I hear you've been invited deeper. Remember, healthy roots require both nourishment and boundaries. Don't let praise rush you past prayer. Thank you, Doc. That's the reminder I needed before I overthink myself into knots. We'll keep our steps slow and our eyes open. A light breeze flutters the caution tag on the inner row gate as if to punctuate her counsel. They linger a moment longer beneath the fig, whose leaves rustle with the kind of voice wind makes when it brushes secrets. Eve silently recalls the slip of paper the church elder gave her last Sunday. Not every open gate is invitation. She decides to keep it tucked in her pocket through the weekend. After closing duty, Adam wheels empty crates to the freight elevator while Eve checks lantern bulbs for Saturday's event. Down in the lobby, the security guard nods them goodnight, joking about saving him a steward badge if promotions come with free lunch. They laugh politely, then step out into the evening drizzle, walking home beneath the skyline freckled with new neon signs advertising condo units across the river. At their apartment later, over bowls of leftover vegetable chili, they talk long about what guardianship could mean. Eve listing pros like better say-so and food donation priorities. Adam naming cons like loss of privacy and possible compromise of conscience. The conversation turns into prayer at the kitchen table. Heads bowed, hands clasped, the quiet between sentences filled with the ticking of the wall clock. Lord, if you're opening this gate, confirm it by your peace. If not, close it firm and save us from ourselves. We want influence only if it's anchored in obedience, not ambition. Outside, drizzle softens to mist, haloing the street lamps in silver rings. Across the block, a billboard for the Steward program brightens, its animation looping a smiling volunteer cradling a basket of produce. For one frame between loops, the image glitches, pixels briefly twisting the basket's outline into the curve of a serpent's tail before snapping back to normal. Adam notices, but chooses silence, remembering the verse Pastor Miles preached the previous Sunday. Guard the heart above all else. That night, the couple falls asleep to the gentle hiss of rain against the window. Somewhere above, in the rooftop soil, roots shift in darkness, reaching silently toward deeper water, unaware, or perhaps fully aware, of the choices about to be made at the gate to the inner row.
Saturday slides in beneath a low autumn haze, the sky the color of tarnished silver over the river. The morning streets smell of wet leaves and roasted coffee drifting from corner carts. Inside Eden Heights, workers polish the lobby floor till it gleams like calm water. A hush of anticipation rides the elevator cables up to the rooftop garden. The Steward orientation is posted for 6 p.m., but by mid-afternoon, residents already wander up to the roof as if the garden itself called a soft roll call. Strings of lantern bulbs, left from last week's festival, still hang under the trellis. They sway in a chilly breeze like rows of waiting stars. Adam Walker trims stray rosemary stems along the herb wall, navy work hoodie unzipped at the neck. His eyes keep lifting toward the inner row fence, though his hands stay busy with the shears. Eve Walker, dressed in her cream cardigan beneath a rain shell jacket, arranges chairs in semicircle rows near the jasmine arch, humming faintly to keep her thoughts steady. The gate to the inner orchard stands closed, the yellow caution tag fluttering like a warning tongue. Around 4:30, the rooftop begins to fill, retirees carrying thermoses of cinnamon tea, volunteers still smelling of acrylic paint from the mural they finished downtown, young parents shepherding curious children. The murmur of greetings and folding chair legs scraping against the decking mixes with the soft hiss of the greenhouse heaters cycling on. At 5:45, N. emerges from the elevator wearing a charcoal trench over his gray blazer, the look of a man equally at home in rain or spotlight. His glass tablet glows blue-green in his palm as he scans the attendance list. The rotating Eden Leaf logo pulses at the screen corner like a calm heartbeat. Neighbors, thank you for braving the chill. Tonight, we explain the Steward Covenant, why we fence an inner row, how we keep the harvest equitable, and how you, the willing, may share the charge of guarding our garden's heart. His voice rolls smooth as riverstone over water. He speaks of accountability ledgers, compost cycle targets, security protocols against plant theft. Projected graphs hover mid-air beside him, neat green bars, soil moisture arcs, even a pie chart of weekly volunteer hours. All practical, all plausible. Yet something in the rehearsed rhythm feels like a salesman's patter gilded as a sermon. The audience listens politely, some nodding as though relieved rules exist, others shifting uneasy in their chairs, as if rules sound less like protection and more like ownership. Hash concludes the slideshow, then gestures toward the inner row gate. Symbolically, every steward candidate will cross this gate once, tonight, only to pledge integrity of care. No ritual tasting, no theatrics, merely a step that marks service. If you step across, you agree to uphold transparency, confidentiality on experimental cultivars, and respect for harvest order. Step only if your conscience grants you peace. A hush folds over the crowd. Lantern bulbs hum faintly in the breeze. One by one, a few longtime volunteers rise. Mrs. Jenkins with her cane, the teenage brothers from 3C, a school nurse still in scrubs. Each touches the caution tag lightly, unlatches the gate, steps through to stand near the fig tree trunk inside the fence, then steps back out. The gesture is brief, almost anticlimactic, yet faces come away solemn as though something unseen pressed a seal on them. Adam stays seated, arms crossed loosely, head bowed as if weighing invisible scales. Eve sits upright, fingers knotted in her lap, her church elder's paper slip folded inside her cardigan pocket. The fig tree silhouette under lantern glow looks older than any building around it, its leaves glistening as if damp, though no rain has fallen since morning. Adam, my heart's steady, but my stomach's not sure. Peace feels near, yet thin. Then we step only if the peace thickens when we stand. We don't chase it, we test it. When they call their names, all murmurs hush. Adam rises first, slow, deliberate, every movement a silent prayer. Eve stands beside him, smoothing her rain shell zipper as if bracing herself against unseen weather. Together they walk the few steps toward the gate. Adam unlatches the caution-tagged lock, holds the gate wide enough for both to pass. They cross the short plank threshold on the soil that feels slightly softer underfoot, richer somehow, like earth that remembered ancient rain. The air inside the fence smells faintly sweeter, a blend of damp fig leaf and late-season clover. They stand for a breath in the lantern-spotted shadow of the fig tree, neither speaking. Lord, if this ground is yours, let us keep it as yours. If it's not, give us courage to walk back out unchanged. We cross not for power, not for show, only to serve and guard what feeds the hungry. A wind gust lifts several fig leaves, making them clap faintly, like green hands applauding or warning. Eve feels the paper slip in her pocket shift against her heartbeat. Adam gives a small nod to Hash, indicating they've completed the step. They step back across the threshold. The gate clicks shut behind them, with a sound sharper than expected, as if the latch had opinions. Hash thanks them with his polished smile, records their names on the glass tablet register glowing between his fingers. The crowd exhales a collective breath. A few more residents follow after them until a modest circle of new stewards has formed. Dr. Amara Cole moves forward then, offering a closing reflection. Healthy gardens thrive on sunlight and accountability. Tonight's pledge means nothing if honesty and humility don't keep crossing the fence with you every day. Let gratitude be your first tool, and restraint your second. A light drizzle begins, as if to seal her benediction. Volunteers fold chairs quickly, laughing about racing the rain, while children try to catch drops on their tongues. The lantern bulbs glow softer through the thin rain mist, giving the rooftop a watercolor halo. Adam helps coil electric cords beneath the trellis. Eve collects stray paper programs that stuck to damp decking. For a fleeting moment, as she bends near the fence, she thinks she hears a faint humming beneath the soil, like wires far underground carrying current. She straightens, listening harder, but only hears the patter of drizzle on fig leaves. By the time they descend to the lobby, the rain has grown steady. The fig tree near the welcome desk seems to gleam under pendant light as if freshly washed. The security guard waves them off with a grin, teasing that the new stewards should start wearing capes. Adam laughs politely. Eve only smiles faintly, lost in thought about the strange stillness she felt inside the fence. At home, they dry their jackets over a chair back and eat reheated chili at the kitchen table in tired silence. Eve finally breaks it. Crossing that gate felt like saying yes to something bigger than garden duty. I can't name it yet. Same here. We'll keep praying. If it's God's yes, the fruit will show. If it's not, the cracks will too. Outside their apartment window, the city rain taps the sill in soft, irregular code, as if sky itself writes a caution neither of them can quite decipher. In the rooftop soil above, roots shift imperceptibly beneath the lantern-damp earth, reaching, winding, patient as time itself.
Sunday morning breaks clear and crisp, sunlight spilling across the river like liquid brass. The city feels rinsed by last night's rain, windows flashing clean light as if freshly baptized. On Eden Heights' rooftop, the soil still drinks in the moisture, releasing that earthy scent of turned ground mixed with rosemary and early morning dew. Adam Walker, hoodie sleeves pushed up, inspects the herb wall for storm-loosened nails. His palms smell faintly of basil sap where a stem snapped in his grip. Each small repair reminds him of the vow he made only 24 hours ago when he stepped across the inner row fence, to guard the garden's heart with integrity. Eve Walker arrives carrying 2 mugs of ginger mint tea and a cloth-bound ledger borrowed from the lobby desk. She's dressed in her cream cardigan beneath a denim jacket, hair tied back with the same green ribbon she wore during orientation. She sets the mugs on the bench under the trellis and flips the ledger open to fresh pages marked New Steward Notes. The fig tree inside the fence appears greener than usual, its leaves glossy in the slanting light. A handful of figs have deepened overnight from pale green to honeyed brown, as if ripening in celebration of their new guardians. Before they can start note-taking, a cheerful shout carries across the rooftop. Mrs. Jenkins, cane in one hand, basket in the other, waves as she approaches. Her cane tip clicks against the decking like a metronome, keeping rhythm with her steps. "Morning, stewards! Fig trees looking plump. Must approve of y'all's pledge." "Morning, Miss Jenkins. We're hoping it's just good soil and sunlight, not politics in the roots." They share a laugh that drifts warm in the cool air. Adam helps the elder set her basket down near the herb wall while she hands over a jar of homemade fig leaf tea she swears helps her joints. The casual exchange feels like proof that stewardship is about service more than ceremony. Mid-morning brings a different tone when N. Hash strides onto the roof, wearing a slate blue jacket with the steward emblem newly pinned at the lapel. His glass tablet glows with fresh charts as he greets the new circle of stewards gathering near the Jasmine Arch. Good to see bright faces after yesterday's step of faith. Today, we start practical work, mapping which bed yield best, deciding first harvest allocations. Our donors want proof their investment feeds the neediest first. That's on us now. The group nods, some eager, others wary of the word donors. Eve flips her ledger to a blank page, ready to jot discussion points. Adam stands beside her, arms loosely crossed, eyes scanning each graph Hash projects on a translucent hollow screen. The leaf logo at screen corner spins its calm rotation. He watches closely for that serpent coil glitch, but sees none this time. Discussions grow animated. Mrs. Jenkins and Sis more kale be routed to the senior lunch program. The teenage brothers argue for extra strawberries at the youth rec center. Eve moderates notes with patient diplomacy, her handwriting a steady stream across the page. After an hour of logistics, Hash dismisses most volunteers, asking Adam and Eve to stay behind for a smaller briefing. The others file toward the elevator, leaving the rooftop quieter except for the hum of greenhouse fans. The inner row figs ripened early. We'll present a symbolic first fruit basket at next week's civic luncheon. Good press for Eden Heights. I'd like you two to prepare and deliver it. We can handle presentation, but can we ensure no one mistakes the fruit gesture for ritual? Purely a photo op. No ceremonial touches, just harvest as goodwill gift. You have my word. All right then, we'll prep the basket, but goodwill better stay goodwill, no hidden strings attached. Ash chuckles, as if amused by Adam's firmness, salutes 2 fingers, and departs. The couple left behind share a glance heavy with unspoken agreement. Stay alert. By late afternoon, the garden bathes in honey gold light. Eve walks the inner row path, snipping herbs for the council basket. Adam polishes a wooden crate to line with fig leaves. They work mostly in silence, except for the occasional scrape of scissors, the flap of a startled pigeon's wings. As Eve reaches for a low-hanging ripe fig, her shoe sinks slightly in a patch of soil softer than the rest. She steadies herself, then kneels to check. Beneath the mulch, she finds the ground unusually damp, as though rainwater pooled underground despite the sunny day. She presses 2 fingers into the earth. It feels almost warm. Strange. Must be leftover rain trapped under the roots. Adam approaches, carrying the crate, notices her crouched by the roots. Everything okay? Yeah, just odd how this soil is wetter and warmer. Might ask Doc Cole to check sensor logs. Adam nods, makes a mental note, but decides not to spook her with his own memory of the serpent glitch screens. They resume gathering the choicest figs, round, firm, sweet-scented, placing each gently into the lined crate. At dusk, volunteers hang fresh lanterns as neighbors drop by to admire the early harvest. The air fills with the soft buzz of conversation and distant traffic hum rising from the street below. The fig tree's silhouette stands tall behind the lantern glow, leaves shifting as though restless in the evening breeze. When the rooftop finally clears, Adam and Eve remain alone, tidying tools into the shed. The city skyline beyond the glass rail glitters in scattered gold points like sequins sewn on night's fabric. Funny. A single day as stewards, and I already feel the garden's watching us back, like it's checking if we'll live up to the pledge. Maybe it is. Every place we serve tends to read us as much as we read it. They pause by the inner row gate before leaving, the crate of figs secure for tomorrow's delivery. A lantern's flame sputters low near the caution tag, casting shadows that make the leaf-patterned metal mesh look almost like scales. Eve suppresses a small shiver. Adam slides the gate latch with deliberate care till it clicks shut. Down in the lobby, they set the crate behind the welcome desk under the fig tree's watchful leaves. The security guard eyes the harvest and jokes about charging a tasting fee. They laugh, but decline his teasing offer. At home later, Eve writes the day's notes into the steward ledger, her pen moving slower near the line describing the warm soil patch. Adam leans over her shoulder, reading in silence, then underlines the words, warm patch, ask Cole. They exchange a quiet nod, agreeing not to ignore the small things. Before bed, they kneel side by side at the couch, turning gratitude and caution alike into prayer. Thank you, Lord, for letting us serve neighbors through soil and seed. Show us if something unhealthy hides beneath what looks good. Keep us from pride, keep us from fear. Give us wisdom to tend the fruit of our pledge, not just these figs, but the trust of the people who depend on this harvest. The city outside hums into night. Trains clatter distant over the river bridge. A motorcycle revs, then fades. Up on the roof, the fig tree sways gently under moon-streaked clouds, as though listening to the quiet prayers rising from below.
Monday dawns with a watercolor sunrise. Bands of peach and lilac stretched over the river, while the rooftops below glint like polished slate after another night of scattered rain. The rooftop garden at Eden Heights still glistens under droplets clinging to herb leaves. The fig tree's crown catches the first rays, each wet leaf flashing like a coin flipped in sunlight. Adam Walker arrives early, navy hoodie zipped to his chin against the morning breeze. He carries pruning shears and a clipboard of steward schedules. The moment his boots touch the decking inside the inner row gate, he senses the soil's subtle softness underfoot, less springy than before, as though it's been disturbed beneath the surface. Eve Walker joins a few minutes later, balancing 2 steaming mugs of ginger tea in a cardboard holder, her cream cardigan layered under a charcoal rain shell. She greets Adam with a weary smile. Neither slept deeply after the weekend's harvest tasks. The couple stand together under the trellis, sipping in silence while the city yawns awake below. Around 9, Dr. Amar Cole climbs up from the elevator carrying her sensor tablet and a slim soil auger kit. She waves as she approaches the couple near the fig tree fence.
Morning! I reviewed last week's sensor readings. Moisture fluctuations at the fig's base don't align with rainfall data. I'll core a sample today, test for drainage issues.
Glad you caught it, Doc. We noticed the soft patch ourselves. Fig seemed too happy for the amount of sun it's had.
I thought maybe heat from underground pipes, but it stayed warm even on the coldest morning.
Dr. Cole kneels by the caution-tagged gate, drives the auger gently into the dark soil, twisting until it sinks several inches deep. She extracts a column of wet earth, rich, black, but streaked with a thin thread of silvery filament that glints unnaturally in daylight. She frowns, pinches the thread free with tweezers, drops it into a specimen vial.
That's not root fiber. Looks synthetic, polymer or wire strand. I'll have to run it under lab light.
How would synthetic fiber end up woven through our soil?
Could be remnants from old rooftop construction, or, if I'm guessing, some kind of experimental sensor mesh never logged officially.
Adam squats to inspect the hole she cored. Tiny rivulets of water glisten inside, like miniature mirrors catching the sky. He notices faint ripples across the surface, though the morning air is still. He rubs the back of his neck uneasily. Midday volunteers arrive to weed the herb wall and refresh compost bins. Eve leads them in chores, but her eyes keep straying back to the fig tree's base, where Dr. Cole replaced the soil plug. The tree's trunk stands motionless, yet somehow feels watchful. Just before lunch, N-Hash appears wearing his dove-gray suit jacket unbuttoned, tablet under his arm. He strides straight to the couple with a broad, unbothered smile. Our civic council luncheon went perfect. Your fig basket was a hit. Council praised Eden Heights for sustainable community care. Excellent work.
Glad it liked it. We just hope the garden stays about feeding people first.
Always the mission. By the way, we'll have city inspectors visiting midweek. Make sure everything near the inner row stays photo-ready, especially that fig. He taps the tablet screen. For a fleeting blink, the Eden Leaf logo at the corner of his display coils into a serpent curve again before flipping back to normal. Adam's stomach knots. He's certain now it's not a glitch of the lobby screen alone. After Hash leaves, Dr. Cole packs her soil samples and warns she'll file a maintenance note about the unidentified filament. Eve thanks her for diligence. Adam offers to walk her to the elevator. On the ride down, she gives Adam a look heavy with unspoken concern.
If something's wrong with that soil, promise me we won't hide it. Secrets rot roots faster than storms.
I promise. We'll tell Dr. Cole everything, once I'm sure what I saw. Afternoon shadows stretch across the beds, turning basil leaves dark emerald. Adam rakes loose soil smooth near the fig to cover the cord spot. The rake's tines strike something solid a few inches down. He stops, tests the spot again. It clinks faintly like striking a buried bracket. He makes a mental note to return with proper tools after hours. Evening settles under a pale gold sunset. Volunteers head home. Lantern bulbs blink on automatically, casting gentle halos along the path. Eve waters the peppers one last time. Adam carries empty crates to the shed.
The rooftop quiets except for the distant hum of traffic and soft drone of greenhouse fans. After dinner in their apartment, Adam tells Eve about the metal clink beneath the fig. Her brows draw tight, but she simply nods, deciding not to panic over what might prove an old irrigation fixture. Near midnight, while Eve sleeps, Adam pulls on a jacket, pockets a flashlight, and climbs the stairwell to the roof. A thin mist drifts across the garden beds. Lantern bulbs swing faintly in a chill breeze. He unlatches the inner row gate quietly, steps onto the damp soil near the fig, and kneels probing with the rake handle tip. After a few minutes of careful scraping, he uncovers the curve of a small rusted metal plate about the size of his palm, its surface etched with a faint pattern of a leaf that curls serpent-like at the tip. The sight sends a current of cold through his chest. He brushes dirt away to confirm the marking, then replaces the soil quickly as footsteps echo from the stairwell.
Adam, what are you doing up here in the dark?
Couldn't sleep. Needed to check the drainage line again. Go back inside, I'm coming. Eve eyes him suspiciously, but decides not to press under the swaying lantern light. Together, they secure the gate and return to the stairwell. Neither speaks the rest of the way down. Back in their apartment, Adam washes his hands longer than usual at the sink. Eve leans against the counter, watching, sensing more in his silence than his words would admit.
If something's wrong with that soil, promise me we won't hide it. Secrets rot roots faster than storms.
I promise. We'll tell Dr. Cole everything, once I'm sure what I saw. They both heads together at the kitchen table, praying in low voices while the city's neon outside paints their window in red and green pulses. Up on the roof, beneath damp soil and moon-washed leaves, the metal plate rests hidden, silent, patient, bearing a mark older than the building, yet fresh enough to shine under a flashlight's beam.
Dawn on Wednesday slides pale gold over the city skyline, yet Eden Heights feels heavier than sunlight can lift. A faint vibration hums beneath the inner row soil, as if the roots themselves are whispering through stone. Fog clings low along the river, curling like slow-moving breath across the bridge girders. Adam Walker rises before the alarm, sits at the edge of the bed lacing his work boots in silence. Eve Walker stirs, reaches across the quilt to touch his shoulder, their unspoken language of courage before the day's test. Today, city inspectors arrive, and Adam intends to reveal the buried plate beneath the fig tree. In the lobby on their way out, the ornamental fig near the welcome desk seems to glisten unnaturally under the pendant lights, leaves beaded with dew that shouldn't exist indoors. The security guard offers his usual half-joke about charging a fig watch fee. Neither Adam nor Eve laughs this time. By mid-morning, the rooftop is alive with volunteers tidying beds for the inspection. Dr. Amara Cole kneels near the caution-tagged gate, rechecking the soil sensor logs, her rose-hued sweater dusted with dark soil. In Hosh stands near the trellis with his glass tablet projecting neat charts of moisture levels and compost ratios, a perfect picture for the city's press team already setting up cameras near the stairwell hatch. We'll start the walkthrough at 11. I trust everything near our prize fig is in top condition. Depends what you call top condition. I need to show you something we found under that fig. Hash's practiced smile falters a hair's breadth. He gestures for Adam to proceed, but his eyes sharpen like glass catching a blade edge of light. Eve folds her arms tight across her cream cardigan, feeling the rooftop breeze chill her skin despite the warming sun. With inspectors, Dr. Cole, Eve, and Hash gathered round, Adam kneels inside the gate, rakes a shallow trench until the rusted metal plate appears, damp soil peeling away to reveal the serpent-curled leaf emblem engraved across its center. Gasps ripple through the volunteers, camera shutters click capturing what was never meant for headlines. This isn't standard irrigation hardware. Where'd it come from? Smoothly, likely remnant of the building's original sensor grid. Decades old, nothing functional now. Firm. If it's decades old, it still shouldn't be active enough to cause soil heat or moisture spikes. We'll need a full lab test before ruling that out. One inspector crouches closer, noticing a hair-thin copper filament still tethered to the plate disappearing deeper into the soil. He warns everyone to step back while he photographs the find for the city's environmental report. The wind shifts suddenly, rattling every lantern bulb strung beneath the trellis. Several ripe figs drop from branches at once, thudding softly into damp mulch, a strange, almost deliberate timing that makes onlookers exchange uneasy glances. Eve senses a pressure in the air like static before a storm, her palm brushing the caution tag on the gate as if for grounding. She whispers low so only Adam hears. Feels like the garden is holding his breath. Maybe it's waiting on the truth same as we are. Reporters murmur behind their camera tripods, sensing tension that will sell headlines. Hash clears his throat, tries to steer attention back to donor praise statistics, but no one listens. The uncovered plate has become the rooftop's silent centerpiece. By afternoon, the inspectors order the inner row fenced off completely pending investigation. Volunteers carry crates of herbs downstairs, disappointed yet relieved. Clouds roll in from the east, bruised purple gray, dusk arriving early with a gust that smells of iron and wet asphalt. After the officials leave, only Adam, Eve, Dr. Cole, and Hash remain on the rooftop. Lanterns sway in the wind, casting restless shadows across the fig tree's trunk. Dr. Cole, whatever purpose that plate once served, the roots wrapped around it have tapped something unnatural. We'll know more after tests, but I advise removing the fig entirely if contamination shows. Remove the fig tree? That's like cutting out the heart of the garden. If the heart's poison, better to heal the soil first, then watch the rest rot. Hash watches the couple with unreadable expression before turning away as if calculating losses in some private ledger. Dr. Cole packs her kit and promises lab results within 48 hours. That night, a thunderstorm sweeps the city. Wind gusts clang loose gutter pipes. Rain lashes the glass rail of the rooftop. Adam and Eve can't sleep. Near midnight, they climb the stairwell in rain ponchos to pray over the garden. Lightning exposes the fig tree silhouette trembling under heavy rain like a dark sentinel refusing to bow. They step inside the gate. Water pools ankle-deep around the roots, flowing toward the buried plate as though drawn to gravity to that single point. Lord, whatever is hidden here, uproot the harm, spare the good. Cleanse this ground. We stepped across to guard life, not feed corruption. If the soil is claimed by something unclean, break its hold tonight. A bolt of lightning forks across the river bridge, and for a heartbeat, the serpent leaf emblem on the plate below the surface gleams through rainwater like molten gold, then goes dark again. Thunder rolls over the skyline, shaking drops loose from the trellis lanterns. In that crack of light, Adam senses a release, as if unseen tension snapped with the thunderclap. Eve grips his arm, eyes closed, whispering a final prayer through clenched teeth until the wind eases to a calmer drizzle. By dawn, the storm is past, leaving puddles mirrored with soft morning clouds. Inspectors return with Dr. Cole bringing lab results. The plate proves to be an obsolete experimental moisture grid node, once powered by trace bioelectric current from fig roots. Not toxic, only unstable when waterlogged. It's removed carefully by maintenance crew, leaving a hollow imprint in the earth, soon refilled with clean compost. News crews arrive late, expecting scandal, but instead film a story of transparency and restoration. Stewards choosing truth over appearances. Community donations unexpectedly rise. Neighbors volunteer in higher numbers for the next planting cycle. On Sunday, the rooftop hosts a Thanksgiving service at sunset. Folding chairs ring the now-healed inner row. Lanterns glow steady. Jasmine blooms release gentle fragrance under warm evening air. A new sapling fig stands freshly planted where the old roots were removed. Small yet already sprouting green tips. Feels strange saying bye-bye to a tree, but maybe the lesson was never in its branches. It was in our roots of obedience. Roots that hold to truth grow stronger no matter the storm. We'll guard this one better because of what we learned. As dusk settles purple rows behind city towers, neighbors lift voices together in a rooftop hymn of gratitude. Adam and Eve stand hand in hand near the young sapling, lantern light casting warm halos over their faces. Peace, hard-won and fragile, settles over the garden like a new dawn taking root. When the last Amen drifts into evening breeze, Adam steps forward to offer a closing prayer, one meant not just for the soil, but for everyone watching live stream below. Father in heaven, thank you for teaching us that real stewardship means confessing what's wrong and tending what's right. Thank you for neighbors who choose truth over appearances. Bless every hand that tills this garden, every hungry soul fed by its fruit. Guard our hearts from pride, give us courage to confront decay early and faith to start fresh when we must uproot. May this rooftop remain a light in the city, not for our glory, but yours. A hush follows the prayer, broken only by the soft rustle of fig sapling leaves in twilight breeze. The first star pricks the sky above the glass rail, reflected in a rain puddle at the sapling's base, like heaven giving a nod of approval. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching my story.